Hey guys, what's up? I'm Ninji, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing Deep Stone Crypt raid loadouts. So, the Deep Stone Crypt launches in 2 days, this Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. And yeah, anyways, this is just going to be a really quick, short video to maybe help you decide on what you want to take in. This is just going to be, based off my opinion. This is going to be stuff that I'm bringing in, and hopefully you guys find this useful, because I've been getting into this question a lot the last couple weeks, and so I thought I'd make a video on explaining exactly what I'm taking in and why I'm taking it in. Alright, let's go ahead and look at this. So, this isn't going to be a subclass or anything like that discussion, just weapons. But yeah, anyways, so on my character, I have all the weapons that I will be bringing into the raid. And you honestly can't really decide exactly what you're going to be using until you start each encounter. But yeah, I'm bringing in a whole slew of things. So we'll just start with the first slot. So in the first slot, I have a Long Shadow, Izanagi's, Dire Promise, Escape Velocity, and Steel Feather Repeater. So a really strong loadout is this one that I'm currently have equipped. Izanagi's. The two best exotics are Izanagi's and Anarchy. By far, they're the two strongest exotics in the game right now. These, if I'm not using one of these, I will be honestly surprised. Those are pretty much the go-to. So anyways, so if I'm using Izanagi's, there's a very good chance I'm using the Icarus submachine gun. It is one of the stronger submachine guns in the game. It also allows you to use Warmind cells, which can be somewhat powerful. Yeah, it's really the only submachine gun I like going into this expansion. Death Adder is the only 900, but it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't feel very strong. But yeah, so if the encounters are relatively close range, no long range adds, Iklos is the primary weapon that I'm going to be wanting to use. And then heavy wise. Interference, I have the perfect roll on interference, so this is the best possible grenade launch you can get because of full court. You could also use, I think, a swarm. There's a couple other GLs. There's some GLs this season that you could use. They don't have full court, but as long as they have spike grenades and auto loading to pair with Izanagi's, they're very good. So yeah, so this would be if you're trying to melt the boss. These are your two big boy damage. But in a world's first race, something like the thermal erosion machine gun might actually be safer, or the 7th Seraph's machine gun. These are the only two machine guns I'm aware of that are currently in the expansion that you can use. You can't get 7th Seraph's machine gun anymore, by the way. It's just this one. But yeah, so these would be smarter more so to help out with ad clear, because normally in a world's first race, you're going to be under-leveled. So yeah, so this is one of the go-to one of my go-to loadouts. My next go-to is honestly this one. So like I said, Izanagi's and Anarchy to me are the clear front runners in terms of exotics. It just kind of depends on the type of boss you're fighting. If the boss is a crit damage boss, which means the most the primary way of doing damage is crit, you're not really going to want to use Anarchy because it's not really going to do much. So at that point, if it's crit, you're either using Izanagi's or maybe something like Whisper. But yeah, so this is my other favorite loadout. Out of all the subs in this expansion, to me, Escape Velocity is by far the strongest. The only downside of Escape Velocity is it is in the first slot, which I don't necessarily hate, but, during raids and stuff, you're going to run into enemies that are shielded, and then you have to use your special ammo to break their shield instead of, your primary ammo. But I love this. I love this machine gun. This machine gun, or the submachine gun, is amazing. Very, very good. Surprisingly adored, in my opinion, is the best legendary sniper rifle going into this raid. I've always loved 90 RPMs. 90 RPMs are not the best DPS sniper rifles, but DPS is not something that you're even considering going into a world's first raid because you're extremely underleveled. So normally, 140s are your best DPS snipers. But again, when you're underleveled, a 140 is not that good because they don't do that much damage, total damage. And a lot of times, you're really weak, and sometimes you just need to kill a yellow bar. Well, a 140, it takes 3 headshots to kill a yellow bar. So, yeah. Adored. and Long Shadow. Those are definitely better during World's First raids. But yeah, so Adored is very, very good. I definitely recommend using this during the World's First raid. So this is my second go-to loadout. Now again, if you want to use a primary element weapon, you could use Ikelos right here, or Death Adder. Again, I mentioned before, like if it's a close range encounter, I'll be using subs. But as you see, I have some ranged weapons. Steel Feather Repeater, you know, pairing it with Adored, or so my go-to specials, and then on like Truth Tether, like if there's a, I don't know, there's a very good chance that Truth Tether will also be good. Kind of like how Mountaintop was good, but it's nowhere near as good as Mountaintop. But another loadout. But yeah, so if there's an encounter where there's enemies with, you know, more range, I think an auto is significantly better than the sub. My two go-to autos going into this expansion are Steel Feather Repeater and Reckless Oracle. They're both 720s. To me, 720s are way superior over 600s, like your 9s. They just feel better in PvE. 600s don't feel that good in PvE to me. So yeah, I definitely like Steel Feather Repeater the most out of these two. But again, like elemental primaries are nice for breaking shields. If you know me, I love my hand cannons. Unfortunately, hand cannons are probably in one of the worst places they've ever been in PvE currently in Destiny. So the likelihood of me using a hand cannon in the raid, very unlikely. But you never know. Maybe somehow hand cannons will just feel fantastic in this raid. So these are my two go-to hand cannons. Dire Promise in the first slot. Unfortunately, I've never gotten a Swashbuckler Dire, but this is my best PvE roll. And then Nation of Beasts, Outlaw Rampage. Definitely the best possible Nation of Beasts in the second slot. And then lastly, somehow, if this raid is like super ranged, like things are shooting you from sniping you and stuff like that, I am bringing in the Royal Chase Scout Rifle. Now, I'm going to be farming for a better roll. This is the only one I have on me at the moment. This is just from the Season Pass. But, like I said, the likelihood of fighting things that are super far away, probably very unlikely, and worst case scenario, you just use your special ammo weapon like a sniper. But it's good to be prepared to bring in something with some more range. Now, autos do have decent range, and like I also have a gnawing on me, as you can see. Again, the gnawing I'm bringing in case they're like in between those ranges where a scout would be awful, because scout rifle's time to kill is pretty bad, so gnawing is like a backup just in case. But for the most part, I'm banking on there not being anything higher than like hand cannon range at the most. So yeah, for the most part, that is it. As you see, there's a couple more things in here. I went over all my primary weapons, but then heavies. Like I said, the chances of me using anything besides Anarchy or Izanagi's are very unlikely. But 1K, you never know. 1K has shined before. Whisper, it's always smart to bring Whisper with you. No matter how many raids we do, somehow Whisper always ends up being fairly dominant. So Whisper is always smart. And then Xenophage. I personally hate this weapon. It is one of the worst weapons for me personally in the history of Destiny. I find it extremely boring, but in the current sandbox, it is definitely up there. It is very, very easy weapon to use. You don't even have to think. You can just close your eyes and shoot. It doesn't have a crit multiplier, so you can hit the boss or any enemies you're shooting anywhere. And yeah, it is definitely powerful. But I just don't see this being better than something like Anarchy or Izanagi's, because it's not. It's significantly weaker. But yeah, anyways, so this video is already up to almost 10 minutes long, so I'm going to wrap it up. But yeah, anyways, those are my recommendations. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below, and I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.